This afternoon, I'm going to talk about some of the frequent asked questions, especially, after you have, established and developed some mindfulness, you have more clarity, and then you started to see some of your habitual pattern that in the past you have never ever seen that before in the past, but now you started to say, why, to certain people or certain situation, I react in a certain way, and then people keep come and telling me, so is it because of this, because of that, because of, and then they just try to figure out why, they try very hard to figure out why I feel this way, why I react this way. So I normally say that, no, you don't try to figure out why you feel this way, why you feel that way, why you react in a certain way. Because it's just like when you started to develop some clarity, you'll be able to see some of your habitual pattern, but you're not seeing the full picture. It's just like, it's just like the picture of the puzzle, you have only part of it. But if you try to figure out, then actually you are speculating. Your proliferation, you try to fill up the rest of the picture, but that is not the true picture. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, no, you don't have to, because people want to know why I do this, why I react this way. They wanted to know. And then they tried to figure out, and they kept asking me, and said, actually, you just acknowledge that, you just know that this is how you feel, and then you just don't feel it, you just don't react in the same way. Or maybe your reaction will be, you feel a bit upset or you feel irritated. When you feel irritated, normally, when you feel irritated, annoyed or whatever, normally we will advise that, you better not to add a point, because when you're agitated, irritated, that's not the time you speak or you do anything, because whatever comes up, nothing will be good, isn't it? When you're not really happy, upset, all the words comes out cannot be pleased, like the Buddha said, pleasing to the ears. It's not going to be pleasing to the ears. So this is, you just acknowledge that, know that, but not to react. But then don't try to figure out why you feel this way. And people keep asking, maybe is it because in the past I have done this, or maybe it's a previous life karma, all sorts of, it's just a speculation. So I said, no. I said, all you need to do, each time comes up, you just recognize it, acknowledge, accept how you feel. Sometimes people not come to a place of acceptance, not accepting how they feel, and then sometimes they judge themselves, like, how come I feel this way? Why I feel this way? I shouldn't feel this way, And then it's counterproductive. And I said, don't worry. I said, because when you start to try to figure out why you feel this way, and then you start to speculate, and you reinforce your underlying tendency to proliferation. Like the Buddha said, why people think so much? Some people is a great thinker, they can't stop thinking, because of that they have a very strong tendency to proliferation. You proliferate. There is all your speculation. So then when you have very strong underlying tendency to proliferation, actually you are feeding, you think so much. Then your thinking also feeding your underlying tendency of proliferation. That's why sometimes people think so much until that the mind is so active until they can't sleep. Some people can't sleep, very active. The mind, the mind is so active, like, you just like a vehicles travel on the highway, 120 kilometers, can't stop. And they can't sleep. Very difficult to sleep because the mind is too active, because of the strong underlying tendency. So I said, if you do that, you are reinforcing the underlying tendency to proliferate, because you only see part, like you see part of the picture. Then when you do all this, you start to speculate. When you start to speculate, actually you just fill up. This is all your own imagination. You just fill up the rest of the picture, but that is not the true picture. So I said, don't worry. I said, you keep going. Whenever come just to know, just to acknowledge how you feel this moment. When you meditate, we don't like silent present moment awareness. You don't have commentary, isn't it? You just know how you feel. Just know that, and then you leave it. So then you have to keep building up. Slowly, you have more clarity. Then you see a little bit more the picture, and then a little bit more. It's a gradual, as you build up, your clarity, you have more and more clarity, and then it's just like your mindfulness. It's just like your mindfulness is getting stronger and stronger, and if your mindfulness is well established, it's just like your light. At the beginning, you have a small touch, small light, you can see a tiny bit. Then you get the bigger one, brighter. Then you see more and more and more, and eventually you will see the whole picture, but not try to figure out why you feel that way. But it's already a big step, like things that in the past, you have never seen it in the past, but now you'll be able to see that it's already a big step, isn't it? Already, you're progressing. So don't try to figure out. It's okay. It's just know how you feel, and you're just aware that in certain situation you have certain reaction, and then not to reinforce it, but not try to figure out. Because sometimes this is how it goes, the underlying tendency to proliferation, it gives rise to thinking. And the thinking gives rise to this gives rise to desires. So, and the desires give rise to likes and dislikes. And then likes and dislikes give rise to, jealousy, anger, and then greed. This is how it come about. I remember that many years ago when I was a junior nun, and my friend wanted to invite me to Burma, and then actually I was okay. I didn't even really think of going there. It's just okay. Then the whole night I went back to my kuti. I keep thinking about how am I going to talk to my teacher and how to convince her so that she let me go. The mind go on and on and on, And then after that, I just stopped. I said, hey, I don't have to go to Burma, isn't it? Actually, because of the thinking, trigger, and then, because of my friend invitation, I start to think about it, When you start to think about it, then you think of all sorts of, ideas or how to set it, how to convince, and that part also reinforce the underlying tendency and also give rise to desires, because initially I don't have desires to go, but then suddenly, when you think about it, you have desire to go, and this is how it gives rise to desires. And when you have the desires to give rise to, likes and dislikes, the desire come, I like this, I would like to go, or I don't like to go, then when you can't get what you want, you fulfill your wanting because it's come from the desires, then we are very happy. And that's why sometimes always get what we want is not necessary, it's really good for us. Sometimes might be reinforced, sometimes reinforce our defilements, because then we become very controlling. We want to get what we want, But not getting what we want, we get very angry and upset because not getting what we want. And now give rise to jealousy, how come I can't get it, the other person can get it, and all this, and then you can see it, and then you can go back again, like the dependent origination, you go back again, when you have this jealousy, or, it's come from the likes and dislikes, and then the likes and dislikes is come from the desires come from the thinking, and the thinking come from the underlying tendency to proliferation. So I said, it's okay. I said, it's good enough, It's a big, because sometimes people don't see that. If you be able to see your subtle defilements that in the past you're not able to see, I said, it's really very good, sadhu, because in order to see your own defilements is not easy, because very easy to see other people's mistakes, isn't it? It's very easy to see others, but to see yourself is difficult. But in order to see your own defilements, actually you need to have enough clarity, and that is a wisdom. So you need to have the wisdom to be able to see your own defilements, and that is already a big step. So I always say, oh yeah, at least you're wise to the extent. Like the Buddha said, a fool know that he's a fool. He's still wise to the extent. A fool think that is wise is indeed a fool. So, and I sometimes people come to me, I still have this defilement, I still have lots of anger. Then I look at the person, I say, what do you expect, If you have no anger, you're already anagami or you're fully enlightened, It's okay. I say, if you don't have this defilement, you're not here. You won't be reborn if you're fully enlightened. Or you're anagami, you won't be here, no anger. I said, if you come and tell me this, I'm not worried about you. But if you come and tell me that, oh, I'm perfectly okay, I have no problem, I have no anger, I have no defilements, that I'm started to worry. Isn't it? You said that actually it's good that you recognize that, you see that, but most importantly, we don't judge ourselves. The problem is sometimes when you start to practice, you start to see that, and then we start to judge ourselves. Judging ourselves. And that's the part that rather than you reduce your defilements, sometimes you go the other way around because you start to judge yourself, and beat oneself up, and then you reinforce. You see, counterproductive. This is sometimes you look at the mind, it's very, very tricky, isn't it? Sometimes a little bit, it's just like you will go the wrong way, Depends on that moment, how you relate to that moment. So if you be able to see that, it's very good. You be able to recognize and you see that, and then the way you react to that, that's the point. That you might, rather than reduce your defilements, you reinforce your defilements, and you're going the opposite way. And initially, it's really good that you be able to see, but then if we beat ourselves up, judge ourselves, then we are feeding it, reinforce it. So that's why it's important how we relate. How we relate to our problem. It's not a problem itself doesn't cause suffering. The suffering comes from how we deal with our problem. We deal with our situation. That's really that causes the suffering. It's not what we have to do in life. That is the main. The suffering is come from that. Of course, there is part. It's a whole. This is the whole package you have to take up. Having problem is normal. People think that I'm trying to solve all my problem. Getting one of the common attitude people have, getting things out of the way. Getting out of the way. You will never getting out of the way because getting out of the way, then I have times to meditate. I have times to, then maybe people think that getting all things out of the way, I be happy. Sorry, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No matter how hard you try. It's always something happen, isn't it? Like the Buddha said, always expect the unexpected. But for me, is that when I come to that realization that basically I cannot control anything at all. Actually, to me, when I realize that, to me, it's a freedom. Because, sin I can't control. I don't control. Why I want to control? Because so much suffering, isn't it, when you try to control? That's why people used to ask me, oh, how do you train your nun? I said, I don't train them. They train themselves, They come here and I give support, I just give support, encouragement, the whatever support, physical, mentally support, I give the support, give people the opportunities, whatever they need. They have to do the job, isn't it? I can't do for them. Even the Buddhas, the Buddha can't do for you, isn't it? Your job, you have to do your job. So that's why I said Buddhism is a DIY religion. You have to do it yourself. You can't. Someone else can't do it for you, because some years ago someone come up to me. She said, "Oh, I've been doing research with different religion, and I compare with different religion, and I realized that he first of all he said, I hope you don't get offended." So I said, okay, what do you want to say? Then he said, I find that Buddhism is the most confusing religion. I said, you're right. I said, because you cannot understand Buddhism, the practice by just reading books, you can't. I said you have to put into practice. So it's just like you never taste a mango before. I tried to describe to you how a mango tastes like. You can never know how a mango tastes like until you taste a mango. I said the same thing with Buddhism. You have to put into practice. Buddhism itself is a spiritual path. You have to develop those qualities. You have to put into practice until you develop those qualities, and with your own wisdom, your own realization, that leads to deliberation, leads you to, free, not to come back, again. And that leads to deliberation. And you have to put into practice. You have to walk the path. But we can only, the teacher can only support you. Like I said, I can only support someone, but I can't do, to work for them. And people have to put in effort. They really have to do it. And like people come to me, like sometimes people come to me, like the children that having a drugs problem, then they come to me, can you help my daughter, the teenager. Then I look at her, I really look at her. I really look into her eyes, and I told her, I said, we would love to help you, but first of all, are you willing to help yourself? Like sometimes people always say, I want to help my family, or I want to help my friends or my sibling, Then I said, yes, we want to help, but first of all, that person, isn't it, that you want to help, they themselves want to help, need help, and they want to change. If they're not willing to change, no matter how hard we try, isn't it? How hard we try to support, it's not going to work, because the person have to have the willingness that, I make a determination, I put in an effort, I'm going to change, If the person not willing, it's no point. We cannot drag someone, isn't it? I said, yes, I know that most people come from a good place, come from good intention. We want to help, we want to support. But then the person, whether the person really need your help, need your support, isn't it? Sometimes they themselves also don't want to change. Then themselves also, not willing to change. So it's no matter how hard we try, we can't help them. They said, first of all, we also have to have the willingness to do the job, to do the practice, then put in the effort. The other people can give you the support, but then first of all, are we willing, willing to come here? Like all of you, you make an effort to come here. Some of you even working, you have to take leave. There is an effort to come here, and this is something that you commit yourself that I'm going to practice. I'm going to come for this retreat, and that is you make the commitment, you make the effort to come here, isn't it? And no one forces you to do that, but then you voluntarily, commit yourself to do that, you're willingly to do that. But if someone not willing, it's very difficult. It's not that we don't help, we can't help, This is sometimes like the people, when you started to practice and you're able to see that actually sadhu, not to judge yourself. I know some people said to me, how come is that they thought that they have increased their defilements? Because when you come to like retreat, where everything's, settled, peaceful, calm, and then actually things, it's the things that, you be like, you have more clarity, then you'll be able to see things that you normally can't see. It's just like the path. If you sweep it, and then there are one or two leaves, it really stand out, isn't it? Then a tiny bit, you become very sensitive. Sometimes when it's so quiet, just like the sound, it becomes so loud because your mind become quiet. But when you're outside there, you can't hear it, isn't it? You don't see it, isn't it? Then only come here because everything quiet down. It's just like when the water, when the water is the pond, that, when it's settled, and then when the water is clear, everything settled, and then you see all the rubbish underneath. Before that, you can't see. The same thing we can see our mind. I have never seen that before. Then they thought, oh, maybe, and then people think, oh, maybe I increase my defilements, come to retreat, then my defilements getting more. No, it's just that in the past you're unable to see it. Now you'll be able to see it. You're unable to see doesn't mean that it's not there. It's there, but you're unable to see it. So it's not to worry about that. Sometimes we just start to worry about that, saying, oh, I think I increased my defilements. I say it's just like when your mind is peaceful and calm, is everything amplified. Things really stand out. Just like when if the path full of leaves, it's a matter, isn't it? But then if it's clean, one or two, I think from far, also you can see the two leaves, isn't it? From far, because it's clean. It's clean. The same thing with your mind. When you settle, when you're peaceful, your mind you have more clarity. Then everything stand up. It's all manifest and amplify. You can see it. So then when you see that, then first of all, don't judge yourself. Just okay. Just acknowledge that, recognize, acknowledge, accepting whatever, you experience in this moment. And not to label. Sometimes we tend to label ourselves, label whatever we experience, I'm this, I'm that, maybe this, maybe that. And then you're no longer, the moment then you have the commentary, you're no longer in the present moment awareness. You're already out. You're not really direct experiencing that moment. You already put in all the labor, the commentary. So there's don't worry about that. Don't try to figure out why you have certain habitual pattern. You will know gradually. When you have enough clarity, you will see it yourself. So not to worry and not to try to figure out. So if you figure out, you reinforce the underlying tendency to proliferation, and then you reinforce your thinking. This is how it's a dependent originalism. You go up and go down again, like feeding each other. So I offer this for you today, Dhamma reflection, and then today, and then we can sit and meditate, okay? Just choose the most comfortable posture and make yourself as comfortable as you can. Spend a few moments relaxing your body as a way to calming your mind. As your mind calms down, you can put all your attention, pay attention onto your breath, aware of your in and out breath. Just observe acknowledge, accept, and let it be. And not to control your breath. If there's any thoughts arises in this moment, try not to get involved. Just observe, acknowledge, accept, and let it be. And continue observing your breath. Whatever comes up in this moment while you're observing your breath, just fully aware, knowing that it's there, but not to participate in it. Just simply observe, acknowledge, accept, and let it be. So those who want to continue to sit, you may do so. Just to remind everyone, tomorrow too, there's no Dharma talk and guided meditation. 2 to 4 will be interview. So please do like to come for interview. Is you put your name there, but please don't fill up the gap. Don't leave a gap, so that I can close shop earlier. Okay, because some people put 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they leave a gap there, and then then I have to wait. Okay, for people to come. So try to fill it up, so that I can close shop earlier. Okay, see you.